Well, we're out here today with the new Chevy. We're going to put in a 2-inch suspension lift. The lift consists of a strut spacer, mounts on the top of the strut. You can see I've already got the truck supported by a jack and jack stand. Okay, we're going to start with removing the front wheel. Okay, the first step, we have to remove the sway bar end link, the 15mm wrench. Now, I'm going to use a penetrating lubricant on all the bolts that I need to remove to make removal a little bit easier. Okay, now we're going to use a pry bar, lift up on the sway bar, and pull that out. Okay, the next step, we're going to unbolt the bracket holding the ABS line and undo the fastener up here, and then there's a bracket that holds the brake line and ABS line. That all gets unbolted to allow for enough slack in later steps. We're going to remove the nut that holds the tie rod end, and we're going to remove the nut that holds the upper ball joint. Now we're just going to knock it with a hammer and release that tie rod. Now, using the same method as the tie rod, we're going to remove the upper ball joint. Okay, now we're going to remove the 3 nuts holding the top of the strut. Now we're going to remove the 2 bolts holding the bottom of the strut. Now, we're going to slowly lower the jack and remove the strut. Now we have the strut out, now we can put our spacer on top of the strut. Now, you'll have to take some type of file. I've got a small needle file as well as a flat file. We're going to have to make sure you clean up the ends of these studs so that you can thread the nuts back onto them. Now we're just going to secure the spacer to the top of the strut using the supplied washers and nuts. Now we're just going to reinstall our strut. And now we just have to get our bolts through the bottom of the strut. Okay, now I'm just putting the nuts on the top of the strut. Moving along with the reassembly. The rest of the assembly is just the reverse order of the removal process. Now, at this point in the reassembly, which is probably going to be the most difficult, or maybe just the trickiest part, in order to get the upper ball joint back in, we need to be able to raise that lower control arm and the use of a pry bar, ride down against the spring and force that ball joint back in. And we just take our nut and rethread our nut. Okay, I've reinstalled the tie rod end. The brackets for the ABS line that I disconnected earlier. And the sway bar end link. Now I'm ready to put the tire back on. Okay, I've got both sides done. Lift is complete. And you'll see in the following pictures, before and after, I think it makes a pretty good difference.